Are you feeling drained of your energy? You got way too many questions and no answers. You've been dealing with a toxic and narcissistic person for so long, you're starting to wonder if it's rubbing off on you. It's time for no contact. When and how? Let's get into it. Lifers and loved ones, welcome back to the channel. As always, the love is real and the energy is high. Plans being laid, no games being played, money being made and bills being paid as always. And we are back. And welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. We're here to talk about no contact, how and when, and we're going to discuss that from many angles. So don't go away. Let's jump right into the video without delay. I want to discuss no contact from many different angles. I wanted to ensure that I covered this. If you have not had an opportunity to do so, please be sure to check out my healing and understanding playlist for context. And we're going to get into no contact, and we're going to do that from a place of authenticity. And we're going to do that from many different angles. We're going to talk about the impact that no contact has on the toxic or narcissistic person, but also the impact that it has on you. We're going to discuss why it is so important and when and how it is that you can find yourself in no contact, as no contact is money and no contact is always the ultimate goal. All right. So what I want to talk about is gray rock. And the reason I'm going to bring up gray rock first is because I feel like this is a great starting point. All of us are having our own unique experience in a toxic or narcissistic relationship. No narcissist is created equal, and neither are we. It is easy for us who were not, bound contractually to a toxic or narcissistic person. If we weren't in lengthy relationships or marriages, it's easy for those of us who did not have kids within a relationship to be able to say, it's easy to go into no contact, right? But we know that that's not reality. I want to deal in reality. I want to speak to you from a place of experience and from a place of authenticity. And I want to take in consideration anyone who could possibly come across this video, because again, we all have our own situations. We're all coming from our own unique perspective. So I want to be sensitive to that. And I want to take that in consideration. And in keeping with that, as always, all right, I am not a psychoanalyst. I am not a clinical professional. I am not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm none of those. I'm just a woman who is speaking from her own personal experience. And I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. All right. I also want to say that this video is not designed to harm or trigger anyone. This is just an opportunity for us to feel seen and heard and to share information, because information is power and no contact is money. No contact is ultimately where we want to be, but gray rock is a perfect place to start. If you are in a place where perhaps you're cohabitating, right? You're parallel parenting, you're in a long, lengthy marriage or relationship, like it's hard to just walk away, and you need to give yourself some time to be able to plan and strategize. Also, I covered that in a video. Check out the link, my most recent video, finding out how to get out of a toxic or narcissistic relationship. We covered that as well. Gray rock could be the perfect jumping off point for finding yourself in no contact, as that is kind of like a seamless transition. But what gray rock does for you, it puts you in a fact finding mindset. You're in like a fact finding mode. What gray rock does for you is, as you're in your fact finding mode, you're looking to get clarity. You're looking to plan your exit strategy. You're informing yourself, you're arming yourself with information, but you're also observing. You're observing the behaviors. You're observing the patterns. You're observing, right? You're observing the toxic or narcissistic person in your life. And that could be a family member. That could be a romantic partner. It could be a coworker. It could be a roommate. There's different situations. So apply this where you can. These videos aren't necessarily designed just for intimate, sexual, or romantic relationships. Narcissism is something that we could all be touched by and impacted by, and you'll be able to find information within this content that'll help you. So apply it where you can, right? But gray rock puts you in a fact-finding mode. You're able to observe. You can kind of fall back, watch what's going on, but you're also planning and strategizing to find out what your next move is. One of the main factors and one of the main keys of success, all right, when finding yourself in no contact with a toxic or narcissistic person, is that you want them to be playing catch up. You want to take your power back. You want to find yourself on the offense now. You're putting yourself in a position where it's not so much that you're looking to be sneaky or dishonest about the way that you're moving, but you're being a strategist and an analyst, and you're reverse engineering the situation and using what you know about them to your advantage. All right, that's what's going to ultimately put you in no contact and keep you safe. I'm always going to stress safety. Safety is of the utmost importance. But what you want to do is put yourself steps ahead, and you want to create that distance. All right. Again, we're reverse engineering everything that it is that they do, that they've been able to use to gaslight you. manipulate you, deceive you, and control you. And we're going to use that against them. And we're going to put them in a state of just uncertainty and insecurity. We're going to turn those questions around on them that you've been asking to yourself. So that's what this does. Once you are in a place where you know exactly what it is that you're dealing with, you've made yourself that promise, you've made that decision, you decided to choose you first, and you know what it is that you want, the gloves have to come off. This is where that self-preservation mode comes in, where you're usually empathetic to other people's situations, where you can usually put yourself in other people's shoes, where you usually want to be a giver more than a taker, where you usually want to look out for others. It's time for you to activate that self-preservation mode and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and to find your way out of the situation, unscathed as much as possible, with your life, your credit, your name intact, like your personal belongings, the things that you've worked towards, your ambition, your employment, like you're looking to protect yourself and protect everything that you've built. That's the purpose. You want to find yourself in no contact. You want to have that distance, and you want to be in the driver's seat. Again, you want to find yourself in control of your life. You want to find yourself in a position where you're making decisions for yourself and where you're putting yourself in the best situations where you can succeed, so that you can achieve the things that you want, so that you can restore your energy, so that you can begin your healing journey, so you can find yourself in that wilderness and that consecration and that isolation and that separation that you need in order to begin healing. All right. It's steps. It's levels to everything in life. And there are steps that you want to take. And before you can find yourself on that healing journey where you're completely separated and out of the negative and dark energy of a toxic and narcissistic person, we got to find ourselves in no contact. So beginning with gray rock. All right. That's what you're going to do. This allows you to kind of remain level. It allows you to remain solid. It allows you to remain monotone, but it also starts to cause the toxic or narcissistic person to question you, because you're not nearly as invested. All right. You're not overreacting. You're not allowing yourself to be gaslit because you really aren't concerned with what it is that they have to say. You're not answering their calls as quickly. You're not responding, to their text messages as promptly as you once would. There's a reason for that. There's a strategy behind it. And I know for some of us, it's going to be very counterintuitive. I'm a giver first in my nature and in my energy, but I'm also beginning to learn more and more as I grow as a woman and as a person that self-preservation is important. And there is a time to be selfish. There is a time to focus on me if I ever find myself in a situation where my needs are being met and it's reached a level of toxicity, because I'm growing, because I've had these experiences, and because I've educated myself and I've done the shadow work behind the scenes to make sure that I'm not bitter, but I'm healthy, and I'm aware and my boundaries are intact. It's a lot less likely that I'll find myself in a situation like this in the future. But if it does happen, I'll be able to spot it faster, and I'll be better in a position to walk away because I understand selfishness has its place. And I do understand that self-preservation mode is important. So love on yourself and understand that this isn't a traditional or a conventional relationship where you're just parting ways amicably, right? There's going to be healthy closure. There may be a discussion. There's an opportunity for you all to be able to communicate about why things didn't work out. You plan, you organize, you part ways, and then you move on. No, this isn't that. I'm here to tell you, this isn't that. Not whatsoever. So don't look to apply the same rules that you may have in a previous relationship in this one, because it's not the same thing. All right. They're looking to harm you. And the purpose of the connection is to finish you, is to harm you, is to damage you, it's to break you down and to leave you damaged for anyone that may come next. It's to block your blessing. It's to block your opportunities. It's to block your prosperity. And it's to prevent you from reaching your goals and finding that love that you ultimately want for yourself, even if that love is coming from yourself. The plan is to break you down. So understand, this isn't about fighting fair. Remain classy at all times. I recommend that. Remain respectful, but also have your boundaries intact and make sure that you're prioritizing your welfare, your needs, and what's best for you and yours, especially if there's children involved. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself, and you're going to need to do that. So no contact. I haven't covered it in its entirety in my healing and understanding playlist. So I wanted to take that opportunity to do that now with this video. OK, I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen so you'll have a clinical definition of what no contact is. But I'll also explain that in my own words. No contact for me means not only not speaking verbally or interacting with them, but that means no correspondence, no text messaging, no direct message, no email. Sometimes they will have their family members reach out to you. Sometimes they will have flying monkeys reach out to you. We call that a Hoover by proxy. They'll use someone else to try to reach out to you. If you are remaining in a situation where you have associates, you have acquaintances, you are in the same friend group, like you're in close proximity, they'll be able to reach out to you. And when the opportunity presents itself, they'll use that. When they come to find out, when that new supply isn't working out, when they come to find out that that new supply isn't you, they are going to take opportunities to try to reach out to you, and they'll use any situation that they can to do that, which is why it is extremely important to eventually find yourself progressing into no contact. And that also means a lot of times, I can speak for me personally, cutting off any, friends that you had in common, cutting off any relationships, not necessarily going to the same places, not shopping in the same places, not working out in the same places, not frequenting the same places. These are small sacrifices. It's a small price to pay to find yourself in that wilderness that you'll need to begin your healing journey. Because they play dirty. They aren't going to play fair. Again, this is about self-preservation. We want to be classy and we want to be respectful. But this isn't the fair. There is no Ferris wheel. There is no petting zoo. There is no cotton candy. There is no fair. All right. So do what's right for you. So no contact for me not only means not speaking to them verbally, whether that be in person or on the phone, but we're not corresponding at all. I am unreachable. I am unreachable to you. You are not going to hear from me. And there's nothing that I need to hear from you. That's what no contact means to me. And I'm very cut and dry and clear about that. Sometimes, we have moments of weakness, and I'm not judging. This is a judgment-free zone. This isn't about division or comparison or competition. This isn't about that. This is about sharing information and uplifting one another. So I'm definitely not judging you, because I understand it's a process. But once you come to find out how it is that they think and what the goal is and what the objective was and how they were looking to hurt you, manipulate you and finish you and damage you and drain you and lie to you and take from you, then you'll no longer want to talk to them. You'll understand it for what it is. I think sometimes those moments of weakness come more when we're uncertain about what we're dealing with. But as you come to learn more and more how they think and what their goal was and how they were gaslighting you, how they were using that love bomb to manipulate you, how they were using that devaluation to plant seeds of insecurity within you, how they were using that devaluation to make you feel less than. Once you figure out that they were using that discard to cause you to feel insecure, to cause you to question yourself, to make you feel more attached to them, they were using that discard to cause you to chase them, then you'll understand exactly what it is that you're dealing with, and you won't feel that need to protect them. See, we want to protect the people that we love. That's called being genuine. That's called having goodness inside of you. It's not about being flawless. It's not about being perfect, but it is about being authentic, and it is about being real. And when you are a real individual and you're connected and you have emotional intelligence, obviously, if you made a conscious decision to be in a relationship or a connection with someone, a friendship with someone, it's a family member, of course you're going to want to protect them. Of course you're going to want to show them that you care. Of course you're going to want to look out for them. Without balance, that can never work. That only works when there's balance there and it's being reciprocated and you're being shown appreciation, and vice versa. Appreciation, reciprocation, and accountability. In my opinion, all relationships need that, regardless of the dynamic. All right. Accountability, appreciation, and reciprocation. You're never going to get that with a toxic person or a narcissist. It's transactional. It's take and take, and you'll always end up on the lesser end of that deal. That's what it's about. That's the main goal. Just enough to keep you playing, just enough to keep you engaged, breadcrumbing you, misleading you, future faking, making promises about things that they never intend to give you. That is the whole purpose. And for a lot of us, it works until it doesn't. And that's the point. So you want to eventually find yourself in no contact and understand what no contact means. All right. And we're not looking for vengeance, or we're not looking for payback. Like, we're not trying to get them back or anything like that. It's not a game that we're playing. No contact isn't a game that we play to look to get back at them. It's the ultimate goal, and it's where you want to be. And that's what is going to keep you safe. And that is going to keep you protected for your future and allow you to begin the space and time that you'll need to focus on yourself. Because after being in a toxic or narcissistic relationship, especially if it was one that was intimate in nature, you are going to need time to heal. You are going to need space to heal. You're going to need a bit of quiet time. You're going to need that wilderness. And it tugs on your energy in a way that's negative and prevents you from being able to heal if you're constantly worrying about if they're actually going to reach out, if you're constantly having to think or question yourself about if they're going to make contact. When are they going to make contact? What are they going to say? And that's also why no contact is so important for your healing. It puts you in a mind frame of taking your control back and having some control over when you could be reached and how accessible you are. So definitely take time to process that and understand that no contact isn't just about being upset. No contact isn't just about making them miss you or making them see what they lost. Or it's for your health. It's for your protection. It sets up the healing journey. I never really heard it discussed like that before, but that's one of the things based on my experience that I came to understand. I needed no contact in order to heal because I knew that I was no longer accessible to them. And it was me who engineered that. It was me who took my power back in that regard. I was in control now of my energy and who was accessible to me. And because of that, it put me better in a position to begin to heal. Take that into consideration. So now I want to cover, no contact from a different angle. I want to talk about the impact that it's going to have on the toxic or narcissistic person in your life, right? And that's regardless of who it is. Again, this could be a family member. It could be a previous platonic friend. There's a few different things that no contact does. If this is a situation where you were going through the phases, love bomb, evaluation, and then discard, right? You would have been through the cycles a few times. You'd been studying them, like you began to readily identify the pattern. Maybe you didn't know exactly why it was happening yet, but you were starting to make the connection that this is a pattern for them. They got a new supply. Because they got a new supply, it makes them look at you differently, whether you were the main supply, grade A, whatever the case may be. Once they get a new supply, because they're going through those same cycles of love bomb, devaluation, and discard with a new supply, that's where their energy is. It takes a lot of energy for a toxic and narcissistic person to pretend. All right. That facade, that mask that they wear, it takes a lot of energy. And because we know that they don't generate their own energy, it's only so much of them to go around. It's only so much to go around, and they have different sources of supply. All toxic and narcissistic people have a supply shelf, like they have their garages, like they have their sources of supply at different levels, different timing, and for different reasons, near or far, and all those different sources of supply have something to contribute. All right. So they have this new source of supply because they're currently love bombing them. This is where their focus is. You've lost your value in their eyes. When you begin to go no contact and they feel that, when you implement that no contact, they feel it. It makes them treat the new supply differently. They went from being the shiny new toy, the new entertainment, the flavor of the month. Like they went from being new and shiny to being the thing that caused them to lose you. It changes the perspective on the new supply. Now, that's not necessarily your goal. That's not why you're going into no contact. You're going into no contact for self-preservation. You're going into no contact so that you can begin your healing journey. And this sets that up. You just want the toxic and negative energy out of your life. That's why you're doing it. You're not doing it to pay them back. You're not doing that to upset them. You know that that's probably going to happen, but that's okay. You're not concerned with their narcissistic injury at this time. Like, again, this is self-preservation mode, but you're aware that is going to cause narcissistic injury, but it isn't the reason why you're going no contact. You're just looking to move on. You're ready. You're ready to turn the page. You're ready to start anew. You're ready to cast aside the negativity, the lies, the deceit, the manipulation, like you're done with it. You're ready to take your life back. Like you're ready to choose you again. Like you're ready to be one with yourself. You're beginning to hear that voice. You're beginning to hear your own voice again. You want to reconnect with your higher self. Like you're ready for that new you that you're going to be. And with all the experiences that you'll take away from this situation, that's what you want. You're ready for a brighter future. You're ready for a healthy and positive existence. You're ready to be at peace again. You're ready to be at rest again. That's why you're going into no contact. At their core, toxic and narcissistic people are extremely fragile. They're extremely insecure. They're fear-based thinkers. I know that they do a good job of acting. That's what they do. They're actors. They're posers and they're pretenders. And they do it very well. They execute that very well. I will give them that. But the reason why they're that way is because they're afraid. They're afraid of you. They're afraid of losing you. They're afraid of what you're going to do when you find out who they really are, which is why they'll never show you who they really are in the beginning. That's a part of the manipulation of the love bomb. They know that they don't deserve you. They know that they're not worthy of you. They know that they're not good enough. And it's not that they couldn't be. It's just that as a result of things that went on in their lives, they made choices. And this is the existence that they chose for themselves. So we're not going to cry for them. We're not going to feel bad for them. We're going to hold them accountable to that. The abused does not always need to become the abuser, if that's even how they ended up with the toxic or narcissistic traits that they have. We're not making excuses for them, but they made choices. So we're going to allow them to stand on the choices that they made. We're going to allow them to be accountable for those choices. All right. So they're afraid. They're afraid of losing you, and they're afraid of being exposed. They're absolutely afraid of being exposed. That's one of the biggest fears. Not only you finding out who they really are, but you exposing it to other people, because they use other people to make themselves look away. Everything is about controlling a narrative and creating the perception, the facade, the mask. That's what they're all about. Controlling a narrative and setting the perception and making sure that they maintain that. And they're different things to many different people. You know, they wear different masks, which is why their energy is so low. That's why they can't rest. That's why they can never be at peace. Not to mention they're haunted. They're haunted by everything that they've done in the past. They've haunted by all the hurt, pain, anguish that they've caused. You know, when you put that type of energy out, you get that back. That's just natural. That's reciprocity. That's life. You know, you constantly putting negative energy out into the world, putting that negative energy onto other people. That's what you're going to get back. That's divine. It's spiritual. It has to be that way. You know, there's no escaping the things that you do. There is no getting away. There is no getting away. So because they're afraid and afraid of losing you, they got all these different supply sources, right? They can't be alone. That's out of the question. Like, that's out of the question. You know how you go through a breakup? You give yourself time to process. Again, wilderness journey. You begin to heal, self-care, love, reflection. No. In the toxic or narcissistic community, they call that monkey branching. They're going to go from person to person to They're never going to process or hold themselves accountable. How could you hold yourself accountable when you're perfect and you're never to blame for anything? That's how they see themselves. That's how they think. And that's how they want you to see them too. But it's all a lie. So they're not taking accountability. They're not sitting still long enough to process anything. They're going from person to person, you know, looking to feed that supply, that toxic need for supply at all costs. And there is no alone time for them. They can't be alone. They can't be on their own. And they're afraid of that. And because they're afraid of that, they have to entertain these other sources of supply. All right. So as you're planning, you're strategizing, you're looking to fortify yourself, you're looking to protect yourself, and you're gradually moving from gray rock into no contact. They're feeling that difference. They're feeling that difference. So as a result of that, this new supply just became the person that caused them to lose you. And now your value goes up. Your stock goes up in their eyes. So that's one of the main effects that no contact can have. All right. But it puts them back in that insecure state that they run from, that they loathe. Like, it puts them back in that state of mind where they never want to be. It causes them to have to accept to a degree that they lost you. Like, it causes them to have to question themselves. How could they let you slip from their hands? Like, how did they lose that grip? How did you get away? You're going to always be the one that got away. You find yourself in no contact and you stay gone. That's the ultimate respect. That's the only time that a toxic or narcissistic person will ever truly value and respect you, is when you leave and you stay gone. Again, that's not the goal. And that's not why you're doing it. But that's exactly what's going to happen. And while they were trying to damage you, finish you, break you down for all time, while they were looking to end you, because make no mistake, that's always what they want to do. If a toxic or narcissistic person ever has it their way, that's exactly what they do. They want to end you. But we're going to reverse engineer that. So when you go into no contact and you stay there and you do so with class, with your head upright, chest out, with dignity, they'll never forget it. And everything Everywhere they go, everything they hear, everybody they talk to, it's going to remind them of you. They're going to be forced to live with the fact that they let you get away. That's the price they have to pay. You ever wanted to get payback? You ever wanted vengeance on a toxic or narcissistic person? This is how you get it. By going into no contact and you staying. That's a death blow. It's nuclear. They can't come back from it. I can't imagine a time and a space where a toxic and narcissistic person ended up in situations where the people that they were looking to do harm and use and love bomb and devalue and discard found themselves in no contact every time. It would ruin them. It would ruin them. It would cause irreversible harm to a toxic or narcissistic person. So that's a reason why no contact is so important. It's almost like you owe it. You owe it to the community. You owe it to yourself to find yourself in no contact. You owe it to your children. You owe it to your family. You owe it to friends. You owe it to people who love you and look to you as an example. You know, you owe it. You have to do it. It's your duty. It's the only thing that they respect, really. It's the only thing that has a finite and indefinite impact on a toxic and narcissistic person when you find yourself in no contact with them. That's what does it. It breaks them down. It does the damage to them that they were looking to do to you. It shows them that you're worthy. It shows them that you have power. It shows them that you're a worthwhile individual. All right. So take that into consideration. You know, as you're strategizing and you're planning and you're looking to make your exit, understand, arm yourself, educate yourself on no contact and exactly what it means and how to execute it. All right. And again, in my humble and personal experience, beginning with that gray rock first is a great place to start. Check out the Healing and Understanding playlist to find my gray rock video, and you'll get more context and a better understanding of how to begin to implement that. But no contact will be a natural progression of that. And again, it's not just about you. This is important. You're the next line of defense against this toxic or narcissistic person. And it's not about them. It's about your healing. I want you to understand that. Keep your energy high. Keep the coldness and darkness and bitterness out of your heart. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with letting someone know what your worth is, letting someone know what your value is, letting someone know that they're not going to treat you however it is that they want to treat you. There's nothing wrong with commanding your respect. And one of the ways that you do that is by going into no contact. All right. Another thing I want to talk about is how no contact combats the smear campaign. Because if they're not already doing it, which they probably are, because they will even smear during a love bomb phase. I know it sounds crazy and it doesn't make any sense, but we won't try to make sense in no sense. But they will be smearing you even during the love bomb phase of this toxic or narcissistic relationship, because they know how it's going to turn out. When they go into these relationships, they know that they're not going to last. They know that it's going to end. But they have to make sure that at all costs, they position themselves to be able to control the narrative, because they don't know how powerful you may be. I can say the toxic or narcissistic person that I was dealing with, they didn't know who I was. They didn't know my power. They didn't know that I would fight for myself. They didn't know that I was strong spiritually. They didn't know that I had the self-worth that I had. They didn't know the God that lives inside of me. And because of that, they thought that they could treat me just like they did everyone else, but it didn't work that way. And they came to learn that very quickly. You know, they weren't going to be able to treat me and break me and damage me the way that they could the other people. They weren't going to be able to do. I loved myself too much. And when it really came down to it, regardless of the situation, once I came to understand the darkness, the spiritual warfare, and that self-preservation mode kicked in, that self-love, that confidence kicked in, there was going to be no other outcome. And they understand that. They understand that these relationships are going to end. So they have to position themselves to be able to control that narrative. Moving into no contact, transitioning into no contact controls the smear campaign, and don't feel the need to address. Let them smear, because people who are of sound mind, people who are worthy, like people who are worth it, people who see the value in you, people who really know you, people of character, they won't need to be convinced. And it's going to look away that they're going out of their way, the toxic or narcissistic person, to speak negatively on your name without you even being there to defend yourself. So this combats the smear campaign. Again, this falls in line with putting yourself in the best position to begin your healing journey, because you won't be there to hear it and it won't matter. It won't matter. That's one thing I think we fail to realize sometimes as we're in these toxic and narcissistic relationships. That payback that you say you want, you're not going to be there to see it. If this plays out the way that it should, if you conduct yourself the way that you should, if you go into no contact and you stay there and you find yourself in that wilderness and that consecration, you shouldn't be there to see. But trust the process. Trust the process and know that you're being in no contact, you taking your power back, you choosing you, and you cutting off their supply, you cutting off that access to you. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that they can do. And they have to live with that. And everything they see and do is going to remind them about you. And they're going to start to compare the other sources of supply to you. There are so many different effects that going into no contact can have on a toxic or narcissistic person. But it basically turns that negative energy, that darkness, and that fear, that insecurity, and the lies, it turns it back onto them. That's what it does. It reverses it and makes them live in that energy because they let you get away. Because they let you get away. And they have to come to terms with that. They have to accept that. They have to deal with the fact that they can no longer control you. And when they're around their family and when they're around their friends and when they're around people who got good sense and the people who saw the light in you and saw the love on you and saw your value and saw what you had to offer this person and how you made that person look. And they're asking, hey, where is so-and-so? Like, they were great. Like, what happened with it? Everything is going to remind them that they let you get away. Some of their family members are going to say, how could you let that happen? That was one of the best things that ever happened to you. That was the greatest relationship that I ever saw you in. That was the kindest, most beautiful, the most handsome, the most accomplished, well-mannered, level people that I'd ever. How could you lose them? What did you do? That's what no contact can do. It makes you unattainable to them. It makes you mysterious. Going into no contact like that makes you mysterious. It's rarefied air. It takes a gifted, a particular type of individual, a strong individual, a self-aware, a mentally fit individual to be able to find themselves in no contact and to reach that rarefied air and to stay there. But above all else, it sets up your healing journey. All right. We can continue the conversation. Feel free to reach out to me. If you have any questions or comments, as always, send me an email to askbizlifestyle@gmail.com. And we can continue on the conversation. I'll go ahead and throw my Instagram on the screen as always. All lowercase letters. 𝑤𝒊𝒛1212. Worthy XIIXII on Instagram. Let's fellowship over there. Come check out my pictures. Check out the reels. I want to see your photos. I want to see your stories. You show me love over there, I will do you the same. Make sure that you share of yourself down in the comment section. Do not hesitate to do that. Share of yourself. Share your testimony. Not only is it therapeutic and it's freeing, but it helps push the content out to the algorithm. It shows the algorithm that there is value in this content. And the comment section is a great place for us to be able to love on one another and share information and share our story. The question that you ask in the comment section or you just loving on someone else, or you just sharing your testimony, you sharing your experience in the comment section may help someone else. So never hesitate to do that. There is no judgment here. Feel free to be yourself. Share of yourself. And you don't necessarily have to give all the details. I would definitely encourage you. Share of yourself in the comment section. Don't hesitate to do that. And it helps the video a lot. Even if you want to just drop emoji, you want to let me know what city and state you're from. You may just want to say, hey, definitely please do help me out. Tap like on the video. It helps you find the video. It helps push the content out for you when someone liked or commented on the video. So I would ask you as a creator, please do show me that love. Contribute. Participate. Drop a comment down in the comment section. It's always appreciated. It just takes a few moments to do that, but it's such a big help to me. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Check out the description. I like to pay homage to other creators who helped me as I was in the beginning stages on my healing journey. And there's also a description, other information about the video. So check that out there. Check the about page on YouTube. A lot of information about the channel, the equipment I use, the address to my P.O. box. If you ever want to shoot anything over, ways that you can reach me. Right. All the links to my socials, the link to my Cash App and my PayPal are there as well. If you want to make a donation to the channel, anything is appreciated and nothing is too small and it'll go back into the channel. And I appreciate you and I thank you so much. Pick up a super thanks as you're making your comment. You see the little heart with the $sign in it or under the description of the video. Pick up a super thanks, man. I definitely do appreciate you. We're growing and we're building community. I appreciate you giving a safe space that I can share myself, share my experience. And I will continue to make this content because it's also therapeutic for me. But show me that love. I cannot emphasize it enough. Please do comment on the video and tap that like. And I'm here. And I'm here to stay, and I appreciate you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate you. It doesn't go unnoticed. I see you. I see you. And I value you. And I thank you. And I also believe in you. I believe in you. So you be sure to do the same thing. It's Biz Lifestyle. And until next time, we're out.